Hi, now we'll talk about the size of the business. So we need to compare size of each business. We need to see how each business is compared to the other business. What are the sizes? How huge or small each business is. And you see, it gets difficult when all the businesses are producing different products, are in a different location, in a different country. They have different investors, they have different customers. So how do you compare it? I mean, how can you compare Apple with Boeing? Apple is altogether a different organization. Boeing altogether a different. Boeing is an organization, of course, we all know, which makes planes. So we would know. It gets difficult. So who gets the benefit of finding out this information? So if you can compare the size of a business, if you need to know how big is this organization, who gets the advantage? Who finds it that all right, yeah, this is something important for me. So number one is the investor. It's important for the investor because investor would then know, all right, this is a huge business or a small business, I should invest or I shouldn't invest, because investor would only look at investment. Should I invest in this business? Should I be a part of this business or just let it go? Second person who can get a benefit out of it is the government. Now, what's the benefit for the government? They can put taxes. So if it's a huge business, government will say, all right, now I know it's a huge business, so I will put in some extra tax. If it's a small business, I let go the tax. Competitors. Of course, Apple would want to know how big is Samsung, and Samsung would want to know. So because they can compete with each other, because they can have a better understanding. They say there's a there's a quote, I believe it says, know your enemy well, not animal, enemy well. So competitors gets, it's very easy if you know, all right, my competitor has a lot of money, he's a big organization, so it might not be a good idea to fight with him over prices, because he will at the end of the day decrease the prices to a level because he can afford it, I can't, at different other reasons. Workers. Workers need to know, I mean, all right, I'm going into an organization which has a lot of employees, or I'm going into an organization which only has two or three employees. So you need to know. Banks. Should I give them loan or should I not give them loan? Uh, if they're big, I'll be happy to give them a loan. If they're small, I might not be able to give them loan. So, few things we have discussed. These are the people who get benefit of finding out how, the size of the business. Investor, government. Investor would know how to, if should I invest or not. Government should know how much tax should I put. Competitors know, I mean, he's my competitor, I need to find out ways to compete with him. Worker is getting into a business and he needs to know how big the company is. So will it be helpful for the employee or not? uh, Big or small. So the bigger it is, the worker is more comfortable working. And bank, of course, because bank wants to know, if I give them loan, will they be able to give it back to me? You see, it's difficult for the bank to give loan to someone who is a very small organization, because bank wouldn't know if they'll give it back to him, or if the business fail, how would they give back the money. But if it is a big organization, bank would know that all right, it's easy, we can do it. If we give them loan, they'll be happy to. If even if they fail, they'll be able to give us back. So now, how can we find out the size of the business? What are the different ways through which we can find out the size of the business? Uh, Size of the business. Alright, first way through which you can find the size of the business is through finding the number of employees. So if the business has a large number of employees, you can say, all right, hey, this is a big business. It's a big business. I mean, they've got big number. For example, an organization like, I'm sure Coca-Cola would have hundreds of, I don't know, thousands of employees around the world. So you can say, wow, it's a big organization. But you see, there's a small limitation you just can't be 100% sure about the size of the business by only knowing the number of employees. It's like, all right, it's a huge business because it has more number of employees. Then what about companies like WhatsApp? I believe WhatsApp started off with just like 3 or 4 employees, and I think they still have not more than 8 employees. What about companies like Angry Bird? I believe they have like 50 bird. I believe they have like 15, 20 employees. I'm not sure, but they are making millions. I mean, Angry Bird is, I believe, a $1 billion company. So it gets difficult for you to only find out the size of the business if you want to find out the size only by employees. So the limitation is that the number of employees cannot give you 100% answer to the size of the business. I hope I am making some sense over here. So now we'll talk about the second point through which you can find out the size of the business. And the second point is, first one was number of employees, second one is number of output. Number of output, which means how many products you're producing. Number of products. So again, I'll give you example of Coca-Cola would be making hundreds and thousands of bottles a day of Coca-Cola. So is it a big, huge organization? Yes, of course, because so you can find out the size of an organization by simply finding out the output of the organization. They're all right, they're making a large number of products, so of course, but there are again few limitations. Is this the only way to find it out? Number of output. So Coca-Cola is making 100,000 bottles a day. I'm not sure how much number they're producing, but this means large number of output means huge organization. Then what about companies like Boeing, Airbus? I'm sure they don't produce 100,000 planes a day, but they're still large. So the limitation over here is again that you cannot be very much specific about the number of output. The number of output, yes, can give you an idea about the size of the company, but you cannot be 100% sure. Maybe organizations with less output are huge too. You cannot compare I'm trying to make a bottle over here. You cannot compare a bottle. I hope I'm good at it. Let's try. Yeah, I am actually. With the plane. You cannot compare them. It won't work. So now you know that you can find out the size through number of employees. Yes, large number of employees would be maybe the organization is large, but there is a limitation that maybe an organization with smaller numbers can be large too, like WhatsApp, Angry Bird, even Facebook started off with a very small numbers. Second is number of output. Yes, you can find out the size of the business by saying, all right, it has a lot of output. They're producing a lot of product. Output means product, and I'm sure you know that. Products, production. Now they're making so much products, so of course this means. But then we compare the two. A bottle of Coca-Cola with Boeing, we can't compare that. There is a limitation to it too. So there comes another point. Let's say, what about value of sale? Alright, so you say, alright, this organization is selling 1,000 products and products worth of 100,000. Yes, you can find out. Alright, Boeing is selling, or maybe let's come back to Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is selling bottles worth of million uh, dollars because they're selling, let's say, if I put it in words, I'm just giving an example, maybe the thousand or maybe 10,000 bottles a day. So that's a good sale, right? 10,000 bottles a day. If you make like $2 from each, I'm not sure, $1 from each bottle, you can get a lot of money. Or I don't know, 100,000 bottles a day, you can make a lot of money, right? But then you still can't compete. So the limitation over here is that there are a few products which are expensive. Correct? Coca-Cola, you can sell 10,000 bottles a day and you can find out the sale. But the limitation is there are a few products which are expensive. For example, let me again give you an example over here. Sale of a pen cannot be compared to a sale of a car. I hope I'm making some sense over here. So I'm happy to sell 1,000 pens. Oh, that's good. And the other guy says, wait, I just sold one Rolls Royce. I know it doesn't look like a Rolls Royce, but the point is, the idea is that you cannot be 100% sure with the value of sales. Yes, you can find out the size of the business, but it cannot be 100% correct. So what do? Let's come to the next point, see what the next point is. Maybe through that we can make some sense. The next point is, value of capital employed. Value of capital employed. This means how much investment they've done. Investment. Someone would say, wait, I've made this new building called Burj Khalifa. I've spent billions of dollars. Alright, that makes sense. Of course, I have made this new company of cars and I've spent millions of dollars. Alright, so then you say, alright, of course there's an investment involved. You have given them some money. The money is coming in. There's a lot of investment involved. Yes, alright. A lot of investment, money going into the business. Yes, maybe you can find out the size. But there's a small limitation here again. So help me with the limitation, please, in your mind. What can be the limitation when you're talking about investment? So businesses with large investments are big, correct? We just discussed Burj Khalifa, world's tallest building. We discussed some car company. Businesses with large investments are huge, are big. But this is big, not are big. But what about businesses with small investments? What about Snapchat? Very small investment, but it's a huge business. Very small capital employed. But it's a huge business. Let me try to make a Snapchat over here again for you guys. No, I don't think I can do that. But you're getting my point, right? I've discussed Angry Birds. Angry Birds. Angry Birds. Candy Crush. You cannot compete these organizations in terms of course, a car company has a lot of investment. And it's a huge $1 million company, but trust me, Angry Birds with a very little investment is also $1 million company. Facebook is again a small company. I mean, it's a huge company, but with a very minimum limited investment capital employed, but it's a huge company. So you cannot compare organization Yes, you can find out the size. Of course, you can do it. You would know. You can find out the size through number of employees. You can find out the size through number of output. You can find out the size through value of sales. You can find out the size for capital employed, and you can find out the size through, yeah, so that's the only capital employed. But the point is, you cannot do it. You can't be 100%. It's not difficult. It's not easy. I hope I have explained the size of the business. How can you find out the size of the business? And by the way, these are all correct ways. Employees is the correct way. Output is production, sales, and capital employed. But they have a little limitation. All of these have some limitation. All right. Thank you very much. Any questions? Please do write to me.